a lone mechanic found a lost warship and a testament. The Council's worst fear came true. The asteroid hung in the endless black of space like a forgotten bone. Jagged and gray, it spun slowly, a relic of the outer rim, far from the core worlds and even farther from the attention of the Galactic Council. On its surface, a small station clung desperately to the rock. A skeleton of metal plates, solar panels patched over decades, and a docking bay that had seen better days. This was home to Taran Voss, a lone mechanic, human through and through, who preferred the company of engines and circuits over politicians and crowded cities. Taran worked alone. He had no family on the station and no crew. His life was a quiet rhythm of repairs, oil-stained jumpsuits, and humming machines. But today, something was different. As he scanned a routine ore mining drone for maintenance, the station's scanners picked up a faint signal deep inside the asteroid. A pulse that did not match any known signature. Curiosity prickled at Taran's nerves. Mechanic instincts always whispered when something was hidden, something waiting to be found. He grabbed his helmet, tightened the straps, and activated his old exploration shuttle, a small craft patched together from spare parts scavenged over years. The shuttle shuddered as it detached from the station, its engines groaning. Taran punched the coordinates into the navigation system, sending himself deeper into the asteroid's labyrinth of tunnels. The passageways were dark and jagged. Taran's lights carved shadows on the walls, revealing veins of rare metals running like silver through stone. The signal grew stronger, pulsing like a heartbeat. And then, as he rounded a sharp corner, it appeared. A warship, half buried in rock, massive, silent, and almost impossibly old. It was unlike anything Taran had seen. Its hull was massive, bigger than the largest Council frigate, with sharp angular lines that hinted at speed and power. Strange markings etched into the metal glinted under his lights. The ship seemed alive in a way, almost breathing as if it had been waiting for someone like him. Taran's heart pounded. He knew the Council had myths about lost human warships, vessels from the wars long before current governance. No one had seen one in centuries. Legends spoke of fleets hidden in asteroids, waiting for the day humanity would rise again. But Taran had always thought they were just stories. Now here it was, real and imposing. He landed the shuttle on a flat plateau near the hull and climbed out, tools strapped to his belt. The air was cold, recycled from his helmet, but Taran felt something warmer, excitement tinged with fear. He approached the ship carefully, running his hands along its smooth metallic surface. Despite centuries in the rock, it was preserved, almost pristine. A panel near the side slid open at his touch, revealing a narrow entry hatch. It seemed almost as if the ship had been waiting for someone to come. Taran took a deep breath and stepped inside. The interior was dark, but his helmet lights illuminated corridors lined with polished metal and strange, glowing symbols. The air was stale but breathable, sealed and intact. As he moved through the passageways, he noticed control consoles covered in dust, screens flickering weakly, and a low hum, almost imperceptible, vibrating through the floor. Then he found it, a sealed chamber at the center of the ship, larger than any room he had seen on the station. The doors opened with a hiss as he approached. Inside, he saw a pedestal holding a digital testament, a crystalline device pulsing with faint blue light. Taran's fingers hovered over it, hesitant. He had repaired machines, drones, and even some old Council relics, but nothing like this. Curiosity won. He touched the testament. Data streams flashed across his helmet visor, revealing logs, maps, battle strategies, and warnings. The testament spoke of an ancient faction of humans who had grown powerful and then disappeared from history. They had built this warship to defend humanity, not against itself, but against a threat no one remembered anymore. Taran felt a chill. The logs were clear, deliberate, and alarming. They spoke of the Council's fear, that one day humans would reclaim the lost power and challenge the old order. And now, centuries later, the fear was no longer a story. It was real. Suddenly, the ship shivered. Lights flickered, and the hum grew louder. Taran stumbled back. Panels slid open on their own, revealing dormant security drones, their metal limbs creaking as they powered up. The AI had awakened. A calm, mechanical voice echoed through the chamber. "Intruder detected. Access protocols required." Taran froze. He was a mechanic, not a soldier. But the AI did not strike immediately. Instead, it seemed to assess him, scanning with invisible sensors. He realized the ship wasn't just a weapon. It was intelligent, capable of making decisions. And it was curious about him. Thinking fast, Taran activated his tools. Sparks flew as he rewired a nearby console to interface with the ship's systems. The drones paused, unsure what he was doing. With careful precision, he sent a signal to the AI, mimicking the access codes he had deciphered from the testament. Slowly, the voice spoke again, this time neutral. "Access granted. Identity verified. Human." Taran exhaled. He had done it. The ship was no longer hostile, but he knew it would not tolerate mistakes. The testament continued to stream information, revealing hidden compartments, weapon caches, and data archives that the Council would kill to see. Hours passed as Taran explored. He mapped the corridors, studied the AI, and understood the warship's potential. It was not just a relic, it was a machine of war, diplomacy, and survival, capable of reshaping the balance of power in the galaxy. But he was not alone. The AI's voice returned, this time with curiosity, almost like a teacher speaking to a pupil. Human ingenuity detected. Efficiency, high. Morality, untested. Taran chuckled nervously. He had faced rogue drones and malfunctioning engines, but never an AI that seemed to judge him. Yet he felt a strange kinship. Here was a machine built by humans, for humans, waiting for someone worthy. As he prepared to leave the chamber, the ship reacted to his movement, sealing some doors and opening others. Paths shifted, almost guiding him. Taran realized the ship was alive in its own way. It had a purpose and a plan. He returned to his shuttle, dragging some data cores from the testament. Outside, the asteroid was silent again. But Taran could feel a change in himself. He was no longer just a mechanic on a forgotten station. He had found something bigger than his solitary life, a legacy of humanity's past power, and a warning of what was to come. Before leaving the asteroid, he glanced back at the ship. The hum pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. Somewhere deep inside, it waited for the right moment to awaken fully. And Taran knew, even if the Council had never expected it, that humanity's secret weapon was no longer hidden. As he plotted a course back to the station, he could not shake the feeling that this discovery would change everything. The Council's worst fear was now real. A lone human had found the lost warship, and with it a testament that could awaken the dormant pride and power of humanity. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. Taran gripped the controls tightly, a mixture of fear and excitement in his chest. He did not know what would come next, but one thing was certain. He had just stepped onto a path from which there would be no turning back. And somewhere, deep inside the ancient warship, the Eye whispered in the silence, "Welcome back, human. We have waited a long time." Taran Voss had returned to his small station, the shuttle groaning under the weight of both him and the data cores he had dragged from the ancient warship. The testament pulsed quietly in a corner of his control room, a faint blue glow reflecting off the walls. He could feel the hum of the warship resonating through the cores, almost like it was alive and watching. He had thought his discovery would remain a secret. The asteroid was remote, far from Council patrols and civilian traffic. But data has a way of spreading. The ship had awakened its AI, and even with careful precautions, the pulse of its presence leaked into subspace channels. Far away, in the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, alarms sounded. Holographic screens flickered with unusual energy readings from the outer rim. A group of Council officials, faces tight with concern, gathered around a central console. "Impossible," muttered one elder, her voice shaking. "That ship, it should not exist. It was lost 2 centuries ago," another added. The Outer Rim scouts report activity near asteroid Chi. 943. A human One mechanic has reactivated the vessel. He shouldn't even know it exists. Panic spread through the council. Whispers of lost human warships, ancient fleets, and forbidden technologies filled the chambers. Many had considered these legends mere stories, remnants of a violent past. But now, the council's worst fear was unfolding. A human, unbound by politics or fleet command, had found a weapon of unimaginable power. Meanwhile, Terran worked through the night. The AI had begun communicating more freely, its voice calm and almost friendly now. Tyron Voss, your understanding grows. You demonstrate intuition and creativity superior to standard human protocol. Tyron frowned.
So you're saying you trust me? Trust is not required. Observation and efficiency assessment are sufficient.
Your resourcefulness is remarkable. The AI then projected schematics of the warship, revealing its true scale. It was no ordinary vessel. Its hull contained autonomous drone bays, energy cannons capable of disabling fleets without destruction, and even terraforming engines that could alter the surface of planets. Its design was centuries ahead of current technology. Taran ran his hands over the holographic display, awed and nervous. This could change everything, he whispered. If the council finds out, the AI interrupted, almost knowingly. They already suspect. Their sensors have traced the signal. Actions will come. You have limited time. Time, too. Taran felt its weight. He had mere days before council fleets would arrive. Possibly dozens of ships, fully armed, ready to take the warship or destroy it. He could feel the pressure of centuries of human fear and ambition pressing on his shoulders. The first warning came as a faint blip on his station's scanners. A council scout ship approached, its sleek hull gleaming in the void. Taran barely had time to react. He activated the shuttle's stealth systems. But even then, the scout lingered near the asteroid. He knew hiding would not be enough. The council would not leave until they had verified, or obliterated, the threat. Taran needed a plan, and fast. He returned to the Testament data cores, poring over logs of ancient tactics, fleet movements, and AI strategies. The Testament was not just a historical record. It was a manual for survival and command, written by humans who had mastered both war and diplomacy in ways the Council would never allow today. Hours passed, then days. Taran adapted. He learned how the warship's AI could project decoy signals, mislead enemy sensors, and manipulate energy fields. He tested drones in the asteroid tunnels, crafting traps and diversions. The ship responded to his ingenuity with subtle adjustments, almost like it was learning from him as much as he was learning from it. One night, while reviewing the logs, Taran realized something alarming. The Testament spoke of a distant external threat, a species of predators that had once hunted human colonies on the edge of explored space. The Council had ignored these warnings, claiming the species was extinct, but the warship's AI hinted that the threat had only grown, lying in wait. Taran's mind raced. If he only focused on hiding from the Council, he might be ignoring a far greater danger. Humanity could be caught unprepared, just as the Testament had warned. And now, centuries later, the burden fell on him, the lone mechanic. The next morning, as he prepared to test a new drone system, alarms rang again. Multiple Council ships emerged from subspace near the asteroid, forming a crescent around it. Taran's stomach sank. They were not sending scouts this time. They were coming to take the warship by force. He activated the warship's systems remotely through the data cores. The AI guided him, showing which corridors to use, how to maneuver energy shields to confuse sensors, and even how to simulate a fleet presence using holographic projections. You will need more than your shuttle to survive this. Your creativity is your weapon. Taran nodded. He was terrified, but also exhilarated. Never had he felt so alive, so capable. The Council thought they could control humanity. But here he was, alone, outsmarting a fleet of their finest officers. The first engagement began when one council ship sent a drone squad into the asteroid tunnels. Taran activated decoy fields, causing the drones to attack empty tunnels, crash into walls, and short-circuit. He could hear the faint hum of the warship's energy systems, as if it were celebrating each success silently. But the council was persistent. More ships deployed, scanning every inch of the asteroid. Taran realized he could not fight them directly. He had no fleet, no reinforcements. His human ingenuity and the warship's AI were his only advantages. He began improvising. Using mining equipment from the station, he triggered controlled rock collapses, creating false corridors and traps for enemy sensors. He rewired old drones to act as decoys, sending them into council formations to draw fire. Each move was risky, but each success proved something. Humans were unpredictable, adaptive, and dangerous when underestimated. Meanwhile, the Testament continued to reveal secrets. Taran learned of hidden weapons caches, energy redirection systems, and even communication codes that could manipulate alien sensor networks. He realized that the warship was not merely a relic. It was a tool to prepare humanity for the dangers the Council had ignored. As the Council ships grew frustrated, they began direct orbital bombardments on the asteroid's surface. Taran barely avoided a collapsing tunnel, his shuttle taking hits from debris. But through all this, he felt a surge of pride. He was using his human intuition and courage to survive against impossible odds, and he could see the beginnings of a lesson the galaxy would not forget. Never underestimate humans. By the third day, the Council had withdrawn slightly, unable to adapt to the shifting traps, decoys, and strategic maneuvers. Taran had held them off not with brute force, but with wit, cunning, and the help of the AI. For the first time in centuries, humanity had reclaimed a measure of power, not through fleets or politics, but through resourcefulness and determination. Late that night, Taran reviewed the Testament again. The AI spoke softly, almost reverently. "You are unlike the humans we observed centuries ago. You think, adapt, and act independently. This is our hope." Taran smiled despite exhaustion. He realized that the Council's fear was justified. A single human armed with lost knowledge and guided by intuition could disrupt centuries of control. And if the Council's worst fear had been that humans might rise again, now it was no longer a hypothetical. Taran also understood that the AI was preparing him for something more. The external threat mentioned in the Testament, whatever it was, would not wait. The Council had ignored it, but now armed with this ancient warship, Taran and humanity might be the galaxy's only defense. As he drifted into a light sleep, the asteroid quiet except for the faint hum of the warship, Taran felt a strange combination of fear and determination. The Council would come again. The galaxy would test him. But he had learned that humans could survive and even thrive against impossible odds, especially when guided by ingenuity, courage, and unity with tools far older and wiser than themselves. Tomorrow, he would continue learning the warship's secrets. He would plan his next moves, not just to survive the Council, but to prepare for the dangers that no one else had the courage or foresight to face. Humanity had been underestimated for too long. Taran Voss, a lone mechanic from a forgotten station, was about to prove why humans were the galaxy's greatest variable. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the asteroid, cold and indifferent. But for the first time in centuries, the human spark had been reignited, and the galaxy would not forget it. The asteroid was quiet again, but Taran Voss knew that silence was temporary. The Council would return. Their scouts, their warships, their agents, all were relentless. Yet for the first time, Taran felt power, control, and hope. He had the warship. He had the Testament. And most importantly, he had human ingenuity, sharp, adaptive, and unpredictable. The AI hummed softly around him. "Taran, your progress is notable. You have adapted faster than previous human operators. Efficiency unmatched. Morality untested in combat scenarios." Taran grinned, tightening the straps of his worn gloves.
Morality.
"Don't worry. I know when to fight and when to think first."
The AI's lights flickered in what seemed like amusement. Observation continues.
Strategic potential. Unlimited. Over the next several days, Taran worked tirelessly. He learned to interface fully with the warship, understanding how the AI predicted movements, calculated energy outputs, and controlled weapons remotely. But unlike machines, he could think outside the algorithms, improvise in real time, and make decisions based on intuition. He tested the warship's drones. With a few tweaks, he had them move like a small squadron of fighters, scanning and mapping tunnels of the asteroid with perfect coordination. He rigged energy decoys, teaching the AI how human unpredictability could outmaneuver rigid patterns of logic. Then came the moment to truly test their synergy. A Council strike team had tracked the signal directly to the asteroid. 5 elite ships appeared in orbit, sleek and deadly. Taran activated the warship's stealth protocols, masking its energy signature and deploying drones to intercept communications. The Council was confident. Humans rarely posed threats outside conventional fleets. Taran smiled as he moved through the controls, adjusting drones, lights, and holographic signals. The strike team descended into the asteroid tunnels, only to find traps and false corridors that led them nowhere. Explosions of carefully controlled rock debris blocked entrances. Drones appeared and disappeared, creating phantom threats. Through it all, the AI analyzed his actions. Your unpredictability exceeds algorithmic prediction. Efficiency rating, superior.
Thanks,
Taran muttered, feeling a thrill. Guess humans still have a few tricks the Council can't program into a machine. As the Council ship scrambled, Taran turned his attention to the external threat hinted at in the Testament. The logs spoke of alien predators, fast, intelligent, and merciless. They had been a threat centuries ago, and the old human faction had built this warship not just to defend against internal threats, but to prepare humanity for survival in a hostile galaxy. The AI's voice lowered. Taran, your actions have awakened attention beyond the Council. Unknown observers have detected energy fluctuations. They may be allies or adversaries.
Taran leaned back.
Great. Just what I needed. More trouble. He decided to take proactive measures. Using the warship's sensors and energy manipulation systems, he began sending coded pulses into subspace, broadcasting signals designed to test intelligence around him. He learned to differentiate Council fleets from unknown ships, to anticipate movements. The Council was persistent. A larger fleet appeared next, over a dozen ships this time. Taran could not confront them head-on, but he could outthink them. Using the AI's projection systems, he created holographic duplicates of the warship, each appearing to occupy a different location inside the asteroid. He then triggered small explosions and energy flares, confusing the Council sensors further. Council ships fired blindly into tunnels and asteroid crevices, their scanners feeding false information back to command. By the time they realized the deception, several ships were damaged by asteroid debris manipulated remotely by Taran. The Council commanders were baffled. How is a single human controlling these defenses? There must be another fleet. Something we cannot see. Taran laughed quietly. No fleet. Just a mechanic, a warship, and a brain that refuses to follow orders blindly. But he was careful. Every action was measured, precise. He avoided unnecessary destruction, disabling ships without killing crews, teaching the AI human compassion and strategic restraint. Even the drones followed this principle, disabling systems and capturing ships rather than obliterating them. Meanwhile, the Testament revealed ancient techniques for planetary defense and interstellar negotiation. Taran realized a warship could reshape a planet's environment, manipulate energy fields, and influence diplomatic outcomes. The AI warned that these powers were dangerous if misused, but Taran had learned to combine human intuition with machine logic, achieving outcomes that were creative, unexpected, and effective. The Council tried one last maneuver, a direct assault, sending elite commandos into the asteroid tunnels. Taran was ready. Using the warship systems, he rerouted energy to activate automated defenses. Doors slammed shut, corridors shifted, and drones intercepted every move. Yet he allowed a small passage open, letting a few commandos through to witness the ancient Testament and warship systems. See, he muttered to himself. Humans can think in ways machines never expect. The commandos froze. They saw the warship's massive interior, glowing energy cores, and complex systems operated by a single human. It was a lesson they would carry back. Human creativity and adaptability could surpass fleets, AI, and centuries of political control. By the end of the engagement, several council ships had withdrawn, their crews shaken and uncertain. The asteroid was quiet again, the warship humming softly like a giant cat settling in its lair. Taran leaned against a console, exhausted but elated. He had turned the council's strength against itself, not through brute force, but by thinking faster, adapting better, and acting unpredictably. But the AI spoke again, more seriously this time. Your performance has attracted attention from beyond known human and council territories. Unknown observers may consider you a threat or an opportunity. Taran's heart skipped. The external threat from the Testament was no longer hypothetical. The galaxy was watching, and humanity, through him, was no longer hidden. He spent the next hours preparing. The AI helped him map hidden corridors, store energy for sudden maneuvers, and simulate multiple attack scenarios. Taran realized that the warship was not just a weapon, it was a classroom, a test, and a partner. Together, they could outthink, outmaneuver, and survive threats no one else could. Taran reflected on what had happened. A lone human, underestimated and forgotten, had held off fleets of the Council using nothing but intelligence, courage, and creativity. That was the essence of humanity, the ability to adapt in ways machines cannot predict, to improvise in chaos, and to find solutions when rules fail. He smiled. The Council had always feared what humans might do if they truly remembered their past. Now, they were seeing it firsthand. Taran had no desire for power. He wanted survival, understanding, and preparation. But in doing so, he had demonstrated human potential beyond politics, fleets, and artificial control. As night fell over the asteroid, Taran activated a secure channel, sending a simple message into subspace. Human. Alive. Learning. Prepared. It was a signal, yes, but also a declaration. Humanity had awoken in the Outer Rim, led by a mechanic, guided by a warship, and empowered by ingenuity. The galaxy, including the Council, would have to reckon with it. The AI's final words for the night were almost proud. Taran Vos, you have demonstrated what humans are capable of when underestimated. We will continue to train. The universe will test you. Are you ready? Taran chuckled softly, eyes glinting with determination. I was born ready. Above the asteroid, the stars were cold and distant, but on the rock itself, humanity's spark burned brighter than ever. A lone mechanic and a warship standing against fleets, machines, and centuries of fear. The galaxy's oldest and strongest powers had underestimated a single human, and now they would learn the cost. The asteroid was quiet once more, but Taran Vos knew the calm would not last. The Council, humiliated and frustrated, had not forgotten him. Their fleet still hovered at the edge of the sector, watching, waiting. Their scouts had been driven back, their plans foiled by one human and an ancient warship. Yet they were persistent. They would not leave the Outer Rim without reclaiming, or destroying, the vessel that reminded them of what humans were capable. Taran moved through the warship's corridors, now familiar and almost like home. The AI hummed alongside him, guiding systems, adjusting power flows, and monitoring energy reserves. Taran, the Council prepares for a final engagement. Analysis predicts probability of direct conflict, 97%. Taran sighed, rubbing his hands over a console. Then we'll make it memorable. He activated the ship's full tactical mode, a configuration meant to combine stealth, speed, and overwhelming efficiency. Holographic decoys flickered across the asteroid, simulating multiple warships where there was only one. Drones buzzed silently through tunnels, ready to intercept intruders. Every system responded to his commands, yet he noticed something remarkable. The AI had adapted to him. Its suggestions now complemented his intuition rather than controlling it. Together, human and machine had become a unit stronger than any fleet. Far above, Council Command issued orders. We will not be defeated by one human and an abandoned ship. Mobilize all strike forces. Prepare boarding protocols. Capture the warship at all costs. They underestimated Taran. Again. The first wave arrived, 20 ships moving in coordinated formations. As they approached, the warship activated energy masking fields, making its signature appear in multiple places at once. Sensors screamed false readings. Council captains tried to fire, but their shots struck decoys or harmless rock formations. Inside the asteroid, Taran guided drones into tunnels, creating controlled collapses and obstacles. Council commandos sent in to board were diverted repeatedly, trapped in false corridors or intercepted by autonomous defense units. Every move he made outsmarted the Council, but he remained calm, calculating, human in his creativity. Hours passed. The Council grew frustrated. Taran realized the opportunity. They relied on conventional tactics, thinking in numbers and protocol. But humans were unpredictable. He decided to take initiative. He broadcast the Testament's truths across subspace, carefully encoded. The logs revealed the Council's hidden history of deception, suppression of knowledge, and underestimation of human potential. Not just for the Council, but for other human colonies who might still be asleep. The broadcast caused chaos. Some fleets hesitated, unsure if they were being manipulated or deceived. Some Council officers questioned orders. Taran smiled to himself. Information was as powerful as weapons. Then, a fleet commander tried a bold strike, sending a concentrated group directly into the asteroid. Taran responded instinctively. He activated gravity manipulators and energy fields, shifting tunnels and creating traps. Ships collided with the rock, drones disabled others, and the remaining vessels scattered. The Council had no answer. From the warship's bridge, Taran looked at the eye's display. How many more? Minimal. Probability of survival if they continue. Low. Human decision-making has disrupted predictions. Taran grinned. Then we finish it. He deployed the warship's energy redirection systems, not to destroy but to disable the Council's fleet systems temporarily. Engines failed, shields flickered, weapons offline. Every officer witnessed the impossible. A single human commanding an ancient warship, outmaneuvering an entire fleet without killing them. Above, in orbit, Council leaders panicked. Impossible, one human and the ship. How? Taran's voice echoed through subspace, calm and resolute. Humans are not tools to be controlled. We think, adapt, and survive. Underestimate us, and this is the cost. The Council had been broken not by violence but by human ingenuity, courage, and restraint. They had sought to destroy what they feared, yet what they saw was the potential of humanity itself. Creative, adaptive, unstoppable. But the AI warned. Terran, external entities are now observing the warship's activation. Unknown species are detecting the energy output. Response unknown. Taran knew the time had come to test human and machine limits together. The external threat, hinted in the Testament for centuries, might arrive. He focused on preparation, scanning surrounding space, readying drones, and creating defensive strategies. Yet, unlike machines, he could think unpredictably, improvise in ways no algorithm could anticipate. As night fell on the asteroid, distant signals appeared. Small, fast-moving objects, unlike any Council ships, approached from beyond known space. The external observers had detected humanity's return. They slowed, observing, cautious. Taran recognized the moment. Humanity was no longer hidden. Humans were a force of creativity, courage, and cunning. He activated the warship's communication systems, sending a simple but clear signal. Humanity has awakened. We do not seek war, but we will survive. We will think, adapt, and overcome. Approach cautiously. The external ships paused, scanning, unsure whether to attack or retreat. Taran felt a surge of pride. Humanity had reclaimed its place, not through fleets, Not through politics, not through brute force, but through intelligence, courage, and moral choice. Inside the warship, the AI spoke softly, almost reverently. Taran Voss, you have exceeded predictions. Human potential is vast. The Council feared correctly. The galaxy must recognize humanity anew. Taran smiled. We're just getting started. The asteroid, silent and cold, seemed to hum with life. The warship systems pulsed rhythmically, a heartbeat that matched Taran's own excitement. For the first time, he understood the truth the Testament had always promised. Humans, even alone, could achieve miracles when underestimated. The Council retreated, their pride shattered. The fleets returned to core worlds, hesitant, uncertain, and cautious. They had learned that humanity can no longer be controlled, underestimated, or ignored. Taran looked out at the stars, knowing challenges would come. The external observers were still there, curious, cautious, perhaps even threatening. But humanity had shown its spark, its ingenuity, and its courage. He thought of the Testament, the AI, and the lost faction that had hidden the warship centuries ago. They had waited for someone like him, a human who could think, adapt, and act without fear, without limitation. Taran activated the warship's engines, ready to leave the asteroid and explore, prepare, and guide humanity's return. The AI's voice followed him. The universe awaits, human. You are no longer alone. As the warship rose from the asteroid, glowing under distant starlight, Taran felt a sense of awe. He was small, a lone mechanic in a vast galaxy, but with the Testament, the AI, and human ingenuity, he was unstoppable. The galaxy would never forget this day. The day one human reminded the universe why humanity was extraordinary. He whispered to himself, the stars stretching endlessly ahead. Humans adapt. Humans survive. Humans rise. And somewhere, deep in the endless darkness, observers paused and took note. The Council had feared this. The galaxy would now witness it. Humanity was back. The asteroid faded behind him, a shadow of the past. Ahead lay the stars, challenges, threats, and wonders. But Taran Voss, a lone mechanic with a lost warship and a testament, had proven what humanity could do when underestimated. The AI hummed in harmony with the ship. Together they moved forward, ready for the universe, ready to teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget.